Hang on.
No, you utter pillock.
No, let me do it.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 funniest James May moments.
The burger, or le croque monsieur.
This is the essence of a car. All the bits you need, nothing more. No flim-flam.
Guess what?
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we'll be looking at iconic moments from Captain Slow that have made us laugh as hard as him. Let us know in the comments what James May moments have had you in stitches over the years. Number 10, A Wild May. Top Gear.
The peace and serenity of this beautiful Ugandan morning was shattered by the bellow of a wild animal.
Clarkson!
The former Top Gear presenter has a history of shouting at his co-presenter Jeremy Clarkson, but none of them will ever compare to this. In the Africa special, James's car was riding too close to the ground, so to protect it, he stole a bit of metal from Clarkson's car. After a while, Jeremy had finally found out that his car had a big gaping hole in it.
I mean, that looks like it was done with a knife and fork by the council. It's not square, it's not neat, he's wasted material, he's left sharp edges.
So the next morning, the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire presenter extracted his revenge, and we were treated to a legendary and priceless reaction from May.
Honestly, I could do a better job than that with the end of a bulldozer.
Number 9, Rambo May. Top Gear. It's no secret that James May doesn't like heights, and this was shown in the Bolivia special.
Well, you want me to drive into it?
No. I'll cut your head off.
Having previously used a machete to get through the rainforest, James decided he could use it as a tool on his colleagues if they decided to crash into the back of his car. Before they tackled the infamous and fatal Death Road, he informed Hammond and Clarkson of his proposal.
And I didn't.
Oh, God.
Jeremy was focusing on a taxi driver trying to get past instead of May, and duly crashed into the back of him. And James was true to his word.
Is he now going to get macheted to death?
I was watching the taxi.
Care. I did warn you. Did I or did I not warn you?
Number 8, It Must Be Damp. Top Gear.
We are trying to prove that we really do like small cars, and our producers are trying to prove that they're rubbish.
The boys were tasked with driving from one side of Ukraine to the other in 3 little hatchbacks, with James rather iconically in a Dacia Sandero. It sounded like one of the easier challenges they have faced. However, it started to become one of the more mundane drives they've had, and they soon became bored.
Yep, a mirror on that side.
Magic tricks, learning languages, and instruments managed to keep them entertained for a while, until thankfully they came across a disused nuclear missile base, which is obviously down their street. After examining the weapons, James decided he'd try and set one off with his lighter, which tickled everyone.
I think it must be damp.
Number 7, Are You Any Good at Driving? The F word.
James, if I lose against that, seriously, I'm going to give up cooking.
Not a lot of people stand up to Gordon Ramsay, and not a lot of people can do so in such a laid-back manner. But then again, not everyone is James May. During the cook-off segment in Ramsay's show The F Word, James and Gordon locked horns to see who could make the best fish pie. Living up to his nickname, Mr. Slowly took his time to assemble his dish with amazing grace.
I don't really know what I'm talking about, to be honest. Usually by the time I get this far, I'm so drunk I can't remember what I've done.
The pies were presented to independent judges, and the boys were impatiently waiting for the result. May couldn't contain his joy and served up one final blow to Chef Ramsay, who looked as stunned as all of us.
The winner is...
Come on.
James.
Oh, yes!
Number 6, Mayquarium, the Grand Tour.
The next morning, we all met up on the beach.
It is usually hilarious when James comes into trouble, and this one is no exception. For a mini special in Mozambique, the team were on a mission to transport fish to a nearby town, with each of their ideas featuring varying levels of ingenuity, with May creating a water tank at the back of his car.
The tide is definitely coming in.
To fill it up, he had to get water from the sea that was inching nearer by the minute. In his eagerness to get out of trouble, James uncovered a bit of a design flaw, to the joy of his colleagues.
I need a tow!
Toes!
Try!
It won't do it, it's only got 104 horsepower.
Sadly for May, the rest of the episode was filled with similar incidents. Not that we're complaining. Number 5, the catchphrase, Top Gear. Whilst it may not be a particular moment, it sure is iconic.
Cock!
James May is quite clumsy and gets himself into terrible positions from time to time. So to have a catchphrase in moments of disaster makes perfect sense. It all started when the trio, then on Top Gear, raced against each other across Europe, with James on the losing side.
Oh, cock.
And has continued to any sort of misfortune, whether it be smashing into a piano, stuck in water, or breaking down. Let's hope that May will be on our screens for years to come, so we can continue to hear his graceful catchphrase.
What's the Norwegian for oh, cock?
Number 4, Robohon. James May, our man in Japan.
I've decided to go for Robohon, your digital, experimental, futuristic tour guide.
Whilst making his documentary in Japan for Amazon Prime, James decided it would be a good idea to enlist the help of a tour guide. Rather than spend money on a local to guide him, he used a robot tour guide called Robohon. It didn't get off to a good start, mainly thanks to May inputting his name wrong and being called Bim.
Bim, guess what?
What?
Traveling is kind of getting me excited.
Is it?
Robohon wasn't the most knowledgeable robot in the world, unless it was about bridges. And when the pair managed to get to a Buddhist temple, James couldn't help but notice everyone staring as he lost the plot.
I can see people thinking, why's that grown man got a plastic doll?
Number 3, James's precious shed, Top Gear.
It was a place which seemed to be mostly full of sheds. And what kind of nerd would find those interesting?
Wow!
In 2008, the trio thought it would be a good idea to recreate an older show called Ground Force for that year's comic relief. Ground Force involved redesigning a garden while the owner is out, and the garden in question for the boys was that of former Olympian Sir Steve Redgrave. Obviously, it went horribly wrong from the start, but James was determined to build a wonderful shed with things in.
No, you've got to lift it. No!
However, every time he built it, Clarkson and Hammond somehow managed to destroy it, with bombs, rugby posts, and fire, which angered May in a way we've never seen before.
James didn't take the news well.
Look what you've done to my bloody shed, man!
Number 2, good news.
Great news.
What?
The Dacia Sandero is almost here.
When?
Next year.
Great!
During the news segment of the show, the Top Gear trio have a running joke, led by James, where they briefly talk about the Dacia Sandero before swiftly moving on. No one really knew why they were doing it, but we all loved it.
What's that? What?
That's the Dacia Sandero.
I'm going to see if I can hold on to the back of it.
The 1.2 16 valve, that thing can shift.
Well, when the crew went to film an episode in Romania, the birthplace of the little hatchback, Clarkson thought it would be a great idea to buy James his favourite car. After going for a little drive and clearly beaming with joy, he returned to give his verdict. But before he was given the chance, a truck decided to shatter his dreams in hilarious fashion. Number 1, take the Third Reich. Clarkson, Hammond and May do like to have the occasional dig at the Germans, but I think they, the Germans, even appreciated this joke.
Here it is.
Oh, right. Did they not mention this then?
The episode before, Hammond had tested a 6-wheeled car from Mercedes, which was a sight to behold, and everyone thought that was the only 6-wheeler the manufacturer ever made. However, in the news the week after, Jeremy showed a previous edition with Hitler being the driver.
That's not Hitler.
It is!
It isn't.
James refused to believe it was Hitler, saying it was just a guy doing some hand signals. But then May's punchline had everyone in stitches.
He's just there to do some hand signals.
What signals are you doing there then, James?
He's saying, take the Third Reich.